Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation. Thank you very much for joining me. So the idea today is just getting into the school of thought of the I am, I exist, I have always existed, and in relation to time, I always shall exist. So if I exist now, I always will, and I always have. So you are eternal, and you're constructing time. And now that you're coming, and we're coming to this age of reawakening, it's more the idea of using the power of the illusion. You know, this is the spacesuit that you've donned to be able to have an Earth experience and to play a great game with a whole bunch of your friends. And now that you are coming into the understanding that you are immortal and that you are forever, and this is a great game, and that this does have tremendous flexibility, the more you are in the idea that it does have a lot of flexibility, the more flexible it is. So if you're thinking that I need to save money to go on vacation, or if I need to be able to do any number of ideas to be able to have a certain type of thing, you're still constricting yourself to the idea of linear time. You are now a being that's unstuck in space and time. You're now unstuck. You have tremendous flexibility in that twofold. There's a new energy after 2012, and you are a more higher vibration than you've ever been. And just the idea of entertaining that you're an immortal being in a timeless reality, and that this is a reality that has tremendous flexibility through law of attraction and any number of other ideas, you give yourself more availability of different parallel realities. So you can kind of skip around now. Just imagine this reality as frames in a film, and you're the filmmaker, and you're pulling out the frames, and you're pulling out the film, and you're looking at it in a linear way. Well, you can stop and just as easily skip over frames. That's the idea, is that you can now skip over frames, so you don't have to go through the idea of saving and saving and saving, as a for instance, since that is, money is usually one of the higher topics at hand. And so that you can get from A to B. You can just set an intention and have that manifest for as long as you're willing to entertain the idea that that is true within your belief systems. And if there is some pieces of fluff in there getting in the way that, are not allowing you to entertain that idea that you're not immortal, and that this is a tremendously flexible idea in space and time, because you are projecting it from your greater consciousness as an infinite being, and this is the vehicle, and what is perceiving this that is you is much more on an energetic level than you care to be able to entertain in any one instant, because it would kind of make the illusion not as fun. But if you can just entertain those ideas and experiment with flexibility and setting intentions and having the belief system of being able to receive it, then you can. I was out, I was getting a new prosthetic eye, and I was talking to the doctor, and I said, we talked about drugs and whatnot. I'm like, I'm not really into drugs, but every once in a while I'll smoke some pot just to be social, or before sex or whatever. And so I don't have any, and I haven't smoked for like a year. And I left, and I had an errand to run. I had many errands to run, and I had to go by a Walmart. I had one specifically in mind, but I was running around. I was outside my normal neighborhood to go see this doctor, and I was going by a Walmart. I'm like, well, hell, let's just stop at this one and get my answer. And so I went in, and I grabbed a couple things, and I was standing in the express line, and somebody came right up, and came up to me and said, do you mind, I just need like one thing at this counter, and then I'll be out of your hair. I'm like, yeah, no worries, I'm not in a hurry, I don't have any place to be. And he's doing his thing, and putting in his order, and he looks over at me, and he's like, do you want some weed? And I'm like, sure, why not, all right. And this wasn't even a conversation we had. Never talked to this individual, never saw this individual again. And he actually reached into his pocket, pulled out a wad of cash, and then, I don't know, a couple nuggets of weed, and he divided it up, and he's like, well, here you go. He gave me half of what he's like, here's half of what I have as a thank you for letting me in line. So within 2 hours of just talking about it and setting the intention, like, oh yeah, it would be nice to smoke some weed, it's been a while, I don't have any. And allowing the idea that would be possible, wasn't thinking, I need weed now, I need weed now, I need weed now. It was basically, I just set the idea that would be an interesting idea. And allowed it to manifest. So I'm out in the real world, never gave it a second thought, and somebody hands me weed. Just hands me weed in Walmart. Who knew? So that's an example energetically of what can actually manifest in a very small amount of time. So if you're thinking vacation, I need this, I need that to be able to get here and there, A to B, that's no longer necessary. It's never been necessary, but even now, more now, it's available than it ever has been to be able to get to a destination, to an idea in the most expedient way possible. So allow that just to sink in within your greater consciousness, the idea itself that it is tremendously flexible, and that if you can just anchor the idea that you do exist, and that this is your projection within your greater consciousness, and that you just allow for the idea of having more flexibility and more fun in your life, then I think that you'll be very surprised at what can manifest in a very finite amount of time, because you're skipping over frames and you're going directly to the parallel reality that is commensurate with the idea of the fun and the idea of what you want. So allow more for that to happen, and just relax into the idea, and I think you'll have a lot more fun. Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation, and I apologize for being still a little nasally as the trail end of this evil cold, and which is finally lurking back into the shadows. So if you did like this video, please do like, subscribe, and share. Coaching, life, business, and spiritual. Tons of links down below to that end. Spiritual retreats, guidance. Foundation has a lot of information on it. All the different channels I like are also down in the description, and people I feel that energetically are within the new energy. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a fantastic day.